everybody. Happy new week. I hope you are doing amazing. I'm back from school holiday mode, so back with our normal routine of our Monday morning interviews. And today, we're in the same location, in the same house, just in different rooms. I have got my amazing book strategist, Wendy Trevarthen. You can see her, she's over in the kitchen at the table. But also because she's a recently fresh, hot off the press published author of her third book, Dear Nurse Me Transitions. Show us, Wendy, your third book. Excellent. There you go. That's what we're talking about today. We had something change over quickly, and I said I always scramble and make this interview happen on a Monday morning. But to give you a little bit of a history of who Wendy is and what she has done, and before we tackle into the new book, I'm going to show you for her first two books. So we met, Wendy, was it about 6.5 years ago now?
Six years ago, 2018, May.
Right, 2018, yeah. So we're coming up to 7 years in 2025, right? So I was right, 6.5 years. Midlife Mojo was the very first book she wrote at our Ultimate 48 Author Retreat, face to face. And she launched that, and then about 3-4 years later,
No, 2022. That was just 2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah. So 4 years.
I'll tell you, I started the second book just before I started working for you part-time, and then I finished it as I was working with you in that first year. So
that's right. So there you go. So that was the first collaborative book that you did, Dear Nurse Me Reflections. And it was 6 nurses writing letters to their past selves. Is that right?
That's right. 6 of us, myself and 6 others. And I project managed that. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and you didn't do obviously a retreat with that because it was something that, you know, you kind of just project managed on the side. So what I want to show you guys obviously is a little bit closer up the newest book. So here we go. Dear Nurse Me Transitions, which is also a collaborative book that Wendy completed with four of you guys in that particular book.
That's right. So I did about 7 chapters independently. I co-authored 2 of them, and then the individual authors actually wrote their own chapter. So it was a really it was a nice progression written in a different way, and so it just amalgamates, you know, all of my background and history, which maybe you've got some information on.
Yes, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that next. This takes a bit of time to introduce you because you've done so much over the last 6 years, and I just wanted to show others the development and the evolution of how things happen. So what Wendy was holding earlier is the first proof copy of this book, and right now they're in final proofing checks, and then it's going to go into bulk print and international distribution. So it's only a couple of weeks off being available fully, and we thought it was a perfect time to show it to you guys. So let me introduce the official introduction. Wendy Trevarthen is a retired registered nurse, mother, grandmother, partner, and mentor to many. She has a 36-year registered nurse career, holding many positions both clinically and in middle management, education, and care coordination in both acute and community care across 3 Australian states. At the beginning of this book, you know, there's lots of information about the things she has done, but and let's talk about like what your passion for this is, because actually you're a living and breathing proof in terms of what you have, what you're coaching people on. And even though you are a book strategist within our company, you have a lot of other interests outside of that, and I love that because I also have a lot of other interests outside of, you know, just running this business, which is, you know, passions of mine. So tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, it just made sense. I don't know, this book came, you know, I wanted to do a second book in the series, but as I wrote it, I could actually see, as I wrote, I started conceptualizing, oh, this could be an opportunity to actually pull out the gold nuggets out of my career and put something substantial, because many nurses go through their career and they reach some point, and unfortunately I'm seeing it younger and younger, where they actually question what they're doing in the workplace, whether they made the right career choice, whether they felt that they need to move, etc. So yeah, so it was an opportunity for me to actually put my 36 nursing career, giving away that career. Still, you know, I still wanted to contribute back. And, you know, you actually talk about that sense of contribution and giving back to your community is really a strong thing. And one of the reasons why I joined your team is because of that, you know, that value add to your community was very strong. Yeah, so I'm really proud of this book. And of course, you know, they're going through the whole journey twice before. The Midlife Mojo was a launch book for a PT wellness coaching business I was doing at the time. But what I did from that was a 6-week course out of your teachings and a couple of other of your collaborations. But the teaching behind developing that 6-week course gave me the confidence to be able to see what I could actually do with this one. The second legacy book was purely that. I think I was at a stage in my nursing where I was questioning where I was anyway. So writing that book, I'd call that my nursing legacy book, because it is a bit of a cathartic experience to be able to write about few instances throughout your career and be able to give that advice back to your junior self, which you know is actually going to be quite helpful to others. So, and I do have a third book in the series that I want to do, but it's in here at the moment and in
trilogy.
It's
Love a trilogy.
It's a trilogy, and yeah, pretty excited about that. So, you know, throughout the 6 years, as you said, I've transitioned through developing my own little small business, my growth mindset during that stage. And one of the key things, and you know this about me, you know, is having the confidence to be able to do or take those steps is really important. And being in a space where that creativity is being able to foster. And I believe that, you know, the last 2 years I've actually, you know, opened up that space to be able to see the potential for this. So yeah, it's just been a beautiful process.
I love it. And I also can see that, you know, transitioning out of something is transferable to other careers. Like recently, one of my best friends up here on the Gold Coast, Kim, is kind of thinking about should she continue being a teacher or not, and what's my next thing. And I think the thinking and the strategies and the planning behind what you've written could potentially then help out in other areas. People be brave enough to take that leap.
Absolutely. And I've written it so that if they've made the decision to that's what they want to do, and or if they're still going through that decision making and concreting that is the decision that they want to do, they can jump ahead a few chapters, because some of that decision making program my process may have already been done. They need, you know, and John Rosenberg, who was the one of the key authors in this first book of this series, he actually wrote the forward of this, and he made a comment there. You know, it depends on where you're at along that journey. You can jump forward or refresh backwards, or you know, it's just a handy. It's a really good guide to that decision making and processes. But you know, the core of this is around nurses. So everyone that's been in a government job, even teaching included, will know that there is a very stringent, arduous process around the recruitment selection. You know, going through finding the position, applying for the position, preparing yourself, including preparing the letter and addressing the key selection criteria, having your CV on point so that so you do get your foot in the door. And then what do you do at interview, and preparing yourself for interview, and then transitioning into that new role? What are the key steps that you should be looking out for in your organisation, and if you need to take ownership of that transition as well? So that's, you know, it's a step by step, but there's a lot of mindset overarching in this book that is there for everyone, not just nurses, to consider.
So is there, information also someone's entering into the career?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've had in the pre-sale for this, as we do, I've had a friend of mine from high school bought it for a more senior person that's entering nursing as a guide for her, and also her daughter who's just become a second-year student. So it's a handbook that can be used.
There are
and
many different transitions.
Yes, yeah.
Many different transitions as you enter and exit. So from entry to exit, right?
That's it.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So what's the intention for you behind this book, aside from obviously you know, lots of nurses across the world can get their hands on it. And
so a few things have opened up just, you know, in the last few weeks since sort of promoting that this is coming to fruition. I'm appearing on some international, a TV show, and also being illuminated in a global magazine. So that's upcoming for November. The book launch now will be in November. But what I'm developing between now and the end of the year, as I said, utilising the online program, I'm developing a series of workshops that complement this book. And then from doing that at the end of the year, 2025, I've already penciled up, you know, what my strategy will be for next year in developing those even further. So as you know, I think those that came along to the coaching couch maybe a couple of months ago, I've done my table of inclusions. That's in the back of the book. So now I'm actually building out, you know, the 5 modules that are included into that, and also developing further to what I've already got, you know, the one-on-one coaching opportunities that can be there for people. Yeah.
That's really cool. And good morning to Jill. Jill's watching.
Jill Samara.
I don't know Jill Tregonowan.
Oh, there we go. Jill's a retired nurse too. So really, beautiful person. Yeah.
Yeah, she said, I really need to see this today. 2 inspirational organizations. Wonderful. Learn. Okay, awesome. I've gone a bit blurry. There you go. I've come back into focus. I love it. So talk to me a little bit about the strategies. So a lot of people out there want to write, collaborate, right, on a book maybe, or sometimes people want to dip their toe in the water and want to like just do a chapter in a book. Give me some points of advice if someone is the project manager like you have been for the last 2 books, versus also someone who's considering maybe putting their hand up to be part of a book, to collaborate. Like, you know, what's the mindset that you need to have? Because I have an opinion because I've observed lots of people who do collaborative book projects, but I'm just curious about what your thoughts are.
100%, I believe. See, it's twofold where I sit. I know that you're an advocate for you need to write your first book first to gain the credibility if it's a business type of book. I did that for exactly that reason and had no idea that I was going to co-author a book when I first started. But the 2 other authors in this book, Sarah and Kay, they both did this as an opportunity to dig their toe in the water and from something. See, nurses write. They write all the time, clinical notes. So you can consider yourself being an author since the beginning of your career. Teachers would be the same. Any other health profession would be the same. But to actually do a creative piece, and John, the co-author in the second book, found he struggled with this in the first few weeks, going from academic writing through to creative writing, and making that switch was really difficult. So for Sarah and Kay in this book, they've expressed that it was an opportunity for them to take the rules off and be able to write from their perspective. And of course, that's from a project management point of view, and also integrity to the scenario that they're writing about, was supporting them in how to actually write that so that they, you know, the lesson is being told rather than the actual particulars about that incident. So, you know, doing a collaborative book, and it's 2 different books, like the reflections and transitions, 2 different styles of how to do the collaborative books. And the third one that I'm going to do will be, I don't think it will be a collaborative book, but will be based on some stories that come to me. So a different style again. So it depends on the intent and the purpose behind the book and what you're hoping to achieve. And I think that needs to be matched up. That's the first thing. The second thing is being very aware that as you're project managing, you're the key person that's pulling this all together. So you need to know, obviously I knew the system, but you need to understand the system in order to make sure that things are followed through on appropriate timelines to be able to get the turnarounds happening and the momentum to keep on going, and managing the personalities of a co-authored book, because particularly if you don't know the co-author very well, I think it's a lot easier if you have actually worked with them before, or you know the personalities. You know, you need to manage that as a project manager as well, because you know the book is, even though this book here, the second book, I felt I used a more democratic process and took into account what they were wanting.
Yes.
Whereas this one was my book entirely. So
Yeah.
there's that, you know, there's that ownership over how it looks, you know, the style, the font. We had so many conversations with that second book. And I just said at the beginning of this project, we're following everything that we did for the first one because the decisions were made.
Already. Yeah.
Yes.
Which is smart to have them look similar, just slightly different colors, you know, and you know, then when it's a trilogy, it looks like a pack.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
which is
even the second one, I wouldn't mind going back and changing the cover so that the brand of that is the same. Because when I started that second book, I didn't realize I'd had two others in me. It just came through. So, but yeah, that's right. Easy as, yeah.
I've changed the 48-hour author book 4 times, and the latest version then made me change the the Shut Up and Write Your First Book, the pink one, and now the yellow one's out as well. So we'll talk about that another time, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, you if it is a series, it's really good to make them feel like they belong together. Yeah.
And you yourself as the project manager need to be committed to the process too. So I've allocated, you know, time, you know, the 4 weeks I've just been on leave, I timed the process around those 4 weeks that I wanted to have off, you know, just being really mindful of balancing all of that out.
Yeah. One thing is you are working with many different personalities when it comes to a collaborative book project. Don't think it's going to be a walk in the park, because when you're in control for everything yourself, you're the only one that's responsible. Even though you think, oh, other people give me words, that's going to beef out the book and I don't have to write as many words. You're going to spend a lot more time, I can guarantee you, project managing the other people than if you just wrote your whole book yourself.
That's right. And doing the, as I say, the cogs and wheels behind pulling all this together, that's your responsibility, my responsibility.
Right.
So.
Yeah. But when you step into a project manager's role as well, your name is the biggest name on the book cover, you know, and you gain the most traction, I guess, because you're the leader of this. Always leaders take the most responsibility, therefore they'll reap the biggest rewards. That's really cool. I love it. So what are the things that you have got planning behind the book? And then let's talk about how was the process third time around. I mean, I know you've been within our company, but when we work together on a project, you are like a client. You know, we treat you exactly like how we would treat any other client. So tell me how it's changed over the time, and then the intention.
Yeah, I actually treated myself as a client too. So I didn't encroach on any kind of work time to progress this. I participated in the Publishing Accelerator call when I could, and then if I didn't, I actually, you know, was accountable to taking the steps and sort of relaying back and encouraging the other people that are going through, the other authors that are going through that editing layout and printing stages, because it's the support that you need within that group to get you to the final date. How did I, you know, it was a good experience, and to be able to go through that again. And of course, like our team are always updating, so I could see the updates from from the last time to this time in a 2-year time frame. There were a few little things that were a little bit more refined, added into, all that sort of thing. So that was really good.
Yeah, I often say to people, like sometimes when people lag and they come back maybe 3-4 years in, I said, so much has changed. You're coming into a much better system, and so many more support calls were added that didn't exist. I mean, if we even look back 6.5 years ago,
you had two mastermind classes, and they were done with Francesca, and now you have 6, and all the other support calls and trainings with that ultimate program.
with the
It's
coaching.
just with everything, it's just phenomenal. So
there's a lot. And I was just working on the 2025 calendar and just looking at it's filled with stuff that people can access. I know that there's a lot, sometimes that can be overwhelming, but you pick and choose, because you don't have to wait around months before something is available to attend. You can have that continuous. And I think the continuous touch points that we have now is within the support calls help push people through to completion a lot faster, as long as they make the commitment to show up. And I always say it's so important to be in the room. You know what I mean? To make that commitment to show up, especially when you're in the throes of publishing those 3 months you're going to spend. You agree?
And this is why I asked for leave during those 3 days of retreat myself, so that I could not be a book strategist. I could come into that 3-day retreat and focus on, you know, writing a bulk content. And I did. I think I wrote about 40-50% over those 3 days, which was really good to be able to, you know, get the backbone of this out during that time. It was really good.
It's
It was time. It was time for me. Yes.
And you've got a really great, that part of your personality, you're really great at compartmentalizing. That was a big word.
Boundaries, healthy boundaries.
Yeah, you know, I'm doing this now, or I'm having a day off, or I'm on annual leave and I'm going to do this. Like, you're really good at, I guess we always say triaging, the nurse's word, of what you're focusing on, and you can just eliminate anything else, which is a really great strength to develop for anyone that is listening, because a lot of the time with authors,
and there's a key tool in this as to how you make decisions around that. That goes through it. It's an activity for the book.
So next year you're doing some online workshops around the content.
So there's 5 modules that has come from this book, very separate parts of that decision making.
You want to share maybe what the 5 are?
Yeah, so the first one is the decision making about recognizing that you're in overwhelm and feeling stuck, recognizing that you need to make a change and deciding what that change is. That's the first module. And then building up your confidence and communication strategies around that. The second module is you found the ideal job through the first module. The second module is applying for that position, pulling out the job description, matching up the organisation's goals, your goals, all that sort of thing. The third module is getting your application together, including your CV, and preparing for the interview. The fourth module is undertaking the interview, what to look out for, preparing yourself, etc. And the fifth module is transitioning either into your new role that you've been successful, or if you've been unsuccessful, how to cope with that, how to look at your current situation and taking steps towards where you're wanting to go in that dream job in the future. So you're looking at it possibly like a 2-year time frame to do the steps or the action steps to be able to get you to where you want to be. And that includes, you know, not only within nursing, but also outside of nursing, because that's what I've done. So, so those steps are there.
Yeah, wonderful. So there you go, guys. You've got a little bit of a breakdown in terms of what the value is that that's within this book. And I think any nurse out there, you know, can gain so much insight. And if you know someone who's about to graduate or whatever it is, what a wealth of wisdom. What do we say, 34 years or 36?
36 years. 1986 I started as a very green first-year student.
Yeah, so that's a lot of like shortcutted wisdom. That's what I always say. In hindsight, you can see exactly what worked and what didn't. And I know the world evolves and how things are done now maybe are not how, but there are some core principles, like in anything, even in this role that you're doing for us now. There is ways that, you know, you develop a business in 2024 that are different to 2014 and earlier, but the core basic principles behind it all is pretty, you know, 80% of it stays over time, and 20% is what's new with technology and the developments and the evolution. I love it. So let's tell people where they can get the book. So currently the book is on pre-release.
It's on pre-release through a link, which I think Lendy has to put in the comments or the follow-up. But it will be platform. My other 2 books are on my website, healthyoptionsnow.org. And this third book will be up there, as well as access to the modules as we roll that out in the next few months.
So Lindy's going to pop that on. I'm just going to share your website for a moment for those that are seeing this as a video interview. And there's healthyoptionsnow.org, you guys. And also within here, you can go into the shop area and you can find Wendy's first 2 books. and get them. Obviously, the third book will be added on here. Otherwise, with the other book, you will end up at a PayPal checkout to be able to pre-purchase it. It is, if you're listening to this as audio, bit.ly / D, what was it?
DNMT, capital letters.
Yeah, so Dear Nurse Me Transitions. So it's the DNMT in capital letters after the bit.ly. And Lindy has just popped that into the chat, I can see, and your website as well. And you can always reach out, you know, for support if you feel stuck and overwhelmed. I mean, that's exactly when people need, you know, the most information. And I can't recommend, you know, reading as many books around your expertise. Even me, I still to this day read books about how to write books and how to promote and market books, and you know, just continue developing your expertise deeper and deeper and deeper. And as they say, when you out learn, you out earn. So I love that. So congratulations, Wendy. I'm very proud of you. You know, obviously I look forward to helping you through to the next one, so we can make this a little trilogy. I've always wanted to, now I'm thinking about my books, create one of those, you know, little covers that you can put them in, you know, like a box set.
Like a box set.
I've been thinking about, now mine are 4, and I'm like, oh, now it's like a different word. And you taught me what that was. I think tetralogy.
Yeah, no, yeah, I don't know. I'd have to go backwards. It's not quadology.
Not quadrilogy.
It's tetralogy or something like that.
Tetralogy is 4 books, and yours is really, I mean, with the next one, if you change, and that's the other thing I was also going to say is the first book. I mean, you might want to kind of have some kind of flavor to the other 3 where you change the cover up, you know, that's still relevant. And yeah, awesome. All right, you guys, well, that's us for being back to our normal Monday morning schedule, and I look forward to seeing you here every week, Monday Melbourne time at 9 a.m. for another newly published author that's going to be featured. And of course, if any of these books sing out to you, please go and get a copy. You know, support the authors, as well as you know, obviously someone you love in your life that you might know is in that particular space and needs that particular problem solved. All right, as I always like to say, go out there and smash it out.
Smash it out.
Right.